another hanky scene came up and he was like, "Oh hell no, we got to do this again." Like, yep, and it's even bigger.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today, we certainly hope you have an appetite, because we are joined by 6 amazing cast members from Tokyo Ghoul. So without further ado, let's bring them out. Our first guest is an actor, scriptwriter, and ADR director whose body of work includes One Piece, Attack on Titan, Black Butler, and he is the co-host of the Ghoul Intentions podcast. Today, he is here as the voice behind the sophisticated Shu. Please welcome back our friend, J. Michael Tatum.
Hello.
Hey. It's good to see you again. How you been holding up?
Not bad. Staying home. We don't socialize much, so this is nice.
Indeed. Well, it's I know you changed locations recently.
Yeah.
How's the move, and how has the new year been treating you?
All things considered, so far so good. I mean, we do love it here. We haven't got to see much of LA because the stay-at-home order, but it's really nice. The weather is lovely, and it's if we had to be stuck anywhere at home, here's as good a place as any, I suppose. But yeah, we're really loving it, actually.
Well, it gives you time to truly settle into your new digs.
That it does, and that it absolutely does.
How many times we moved to a new place with lofty ideas, and it takes us 18 months to 2 years to get to it? Well,
yeah, no, I've been decorating like a madman because I've had nothing but time.
Well, as always, my friend, it's always good to see you again. I'm glad the New Year brings you healthy and active.
Thank you. Same to you, my friend.
Always. Our next guest is an actress whose credits include Assassination Classroom, Steins Gate, and Fairy Tale. Today, she joins us as the voice of the manipulative Ito. Please welcome Lindsay Seidel.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, and we have a bonus panelist. And who are we joined with?
Ajax.
Ajax.
Ajax the corgi. Say hi, Ajax. Hi.
Oh, nice. And how are the two of you doing in your corner of the world?
Well, having him at home with me has made things a lot easier. Yeah, it's just been staying home, trying to stay safe, all that good stuff.
Awesome, very nice. We're so glad for the both of you could join us. I hope he can stay for the whole period.
Yeah, we'll see. He probably is going to want to get down in a second here, but
absolutely fair. Well, Lindsay, thank you for joining us here for the first time. It's glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And our next guest is an actor whose credits include Dragon Ball Super, Black Clover, and Stars Align. Today, he joins us as the voice of Heisei Art Mask Studio owner Uda. Please welcome Aaron Roberts.
That's me.
That's you. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there. Fortunately, I have an amazing wife, which is great. We bought a house back in May, which I've been able to keep my things in this particular room. Which I have this giant Darth Vader and a recording studio with which to record from home safely. So that's happening. And apart from that, I'm juggling home remodels and doing a bunch of handyman work. So that's also great. Yeah.
This regardless of whatever's happened, the quarantine has definitely got us to re-up all of our man cards with regards to home projects, home improvements, and everything else. I've done more with a hammer and nail in the past year than I have in the past 10.
Yes, definitely more than I would like to, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been working on projects throughout as I've been acting over the past few years for my family, but now it's kind of a full-time thing. I mean, and juggling everything else, but yeah, it's been crazy.
Well, it's good to have you, boss, again. I've had a chance to hope you on stage, and now we have you here, and it's always great to see you.
Thanks, brother.
Always. Our next guest is a voice actor director whose credits include Attack on Titan, Fairy Tale, and Black Butler. Today, he joins us as the voice of everyone's best friend, Hideyoshi Nagachika. Did I say that right? No, absolutely not. So please welcome back Clifford Chapin.
Hello, everybody.
Clifford, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Oh, we are holding up well. How are things in your corner of the world?
Good. I also recently moved and have upgraded a whole bunch of stuff and now have a home recording studio and have fixed pipes in my house and things. So it must be a trend. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. So I hope the new year has been treating you well.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. We're not super far into it just yet, but I'm optimistic that things are looking up from where the last year was.
Some people have said we were off to an inaudacious start, but I just say that was this year just brushing away the last vestiges of the previous year. And
I'm willing to give 2021 until March, just because that's where everything kind of went downhill last year. So if the first two were a little rocky and it picks up at March, I'll excuse it.
fair, absolutely fair. Well, it's good to have you back as always.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
Indeed. Our next guest, she is an actress whose credits include Fairy Tale, Fruits Basket, and My Hero Academia. Today, she joins us as the voice of Waitress and sometimes Wabbit Touka. Please welcome back our friend Brina Palencia.
Hi. I like the Waitress and sometimes Wabbit. That was really adorable.
Thank you. I don't want. When characters do things, I assume that the audience is up to date, but I don't want to talk about wabbits and scarecrows made for some because some people haven't known it. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So, Brina, how are you?
Well, my son's birthday is actually on Monday, which is very exciting. He'll be turning 2. He is really obsessed with the cello, so we're gonna have somebody come and play cello in our front yard, socially distanced. We've done that once before, and he was terrified. Like, kind of in a good way. Like, he was like, oh my God. Like, he was just like so overwhelmed. But then we had taken a video of it. And so since then he demands to see that video constantly. So we're going to try to recreate it for his birthday.
Oh, wow.
Very excited. I also got him a little Casio keyboard because he loves to try to play on the piano, but he can't like reach it as easily. So I think he'll like having a Casio keyboard that's like on the ground that he can just like play anytime that he wants and also make fat beats. You know what I mean?
Hey, encourage it while they're young.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I see once again you're in your awesome little was that the attic adobe?
Studio. It's a little den that we turned into my studio over lots of time. I collage all the walls. There's a lot of things. I just recently put up my ukuleles. My brother actually put those stands up for me. I have like a whole row of them on this wall as well. I also have some plants growing behind my monitor that I'm not going to show you because I would have to move my camera. But
Brina, how is it we've had you
guys?
How is it we've had you on here so many times and not once have you plunked a ukulele for us?
Yeah, I mean, are you asking me to right now?
Well, I'm not asking you to. I mean, if you want to pull one up at any point.
I don't want to play a full song.
I wouldn't ask you to. I was just saying that it's
actually, I have an idea. Wait, no, introduce.
I'll bring out our next guest.
Do that.
Yes, because he is an actor whose credits include Prison School, Is This a Zombie, and Attack on Titan. Today, he joins us as the voice of our hero Ken. Please welcome Austin Tindall.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good, young man. How you been?
I'm good. I also moved into a bigger space recently. I moved to a house in October. Now I have this whole room. There's nothing in it. Look, there's nothing in this room. Just for doing auditions.
That auditions, everything else. I know you're a big fan of Shakespeare. You could do a one-man show from there.
Here's my closet booth, and you can see that the monitor is in fact propped up by Shakespeare. That it might be some Eugene.
As all our work should be.
It's just I have a lot of extra copies, and they're always thick. Oh yeah!
Right behind you.
Are we having a Shakespeare contest? Are we like, oh, check out my complete Shakespeare?
Well, no, actually, before I got this chair, in order to do this right, I used to have to sit on this because of my camera is too. So this used to be my booster seat.
On the shoulders of giants.
That's the deal for the competition. You have to have a big Shakespeare book and use it for something Shakespeare related.
Austin, it's great to have you.
I do want to say to anyone listening out there that's currently holding GameStop stock, hold on. I have this. This is not financial advice. I'm just talking with friends. I've got Booby, I've got Naked, I've got Nokia. We're in this together. We can do this. Hold on. Don't sell ever.
GalaxyCon is not responsible or liable for any financial advice or the appearance of financial advice by any of our guests, and that was not a financial advice. That was chat to a friend. And speaking of friends, before I get started with our formal introduction, our chat room wishes to let know that we have a birthday boy in the house. I won't say the age, but Clifford from our chat room on behalf of GalaxyCon and all of your peers here.
Oh, and I just happen to have a ukulele here.
I know, we were on the same idea.
Just play. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Clifford. Happy birthday to you.
Many more.
The best rendition I've ever given.
Thank you very much. Thank you. As soon as you were like, "Oh, I know what we could do," I was like, "Oh, I know what you're gonna do too."
It was pretty predictable, to be fair.
I am so glad we were simpatico on that. That was just really good. So, well, Clifford, once again, happy birthday, gentlemen and lady. Thank you for joining us today. As always, we here at GalaxyCon, we look forward to the day when the world gets back to normal, maybe this year, and we can once again get you back on our stages and get you back in front of your fans. In the meantime, we have the GalaxyCon virtual stage. So glad to have you here, and it's just always a pleasure. And Tokyo Ghoul, where did this start for each of you? I would love to hear that, and then by that time we should get to go on audience questions. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, Aaron's gotta go first.
I will say that it started with a petty actor by the name of Aaron Roberts, who was upset by the fact that he didn't get to audition. And I was mad. I heard about the auditions. I was into the show, and I did not get called into audition. And I was mad. I was very mad at Mike McFarland, even though his heart is a gentle collection of feathers. I was upset. Anyway, but I got called in to record on the show, and I expected my journey to be one of thousands of well-intended intentioned voice actors to play some background parts. And he said, "Hey, you're going to be playing this guy today." And I was like, "I'm sorry?" He's like, "Yes, you're going to be playing this guy." And and to give you a little background, there's this club which is now closed. There's this place called the Lizard Lounge in Dallas, Texas, down in Deep Ellum. Which on Sunday nights turned into the Church, which was a goth club. And he said, "This is and I've had some goth times. I've enjoyed my goth days."
I've had some goth times.
Of course you did.
But I look really great in some dark eyeliner. Okay, these eyes are bold. Anyway, but he said, "Hey, this guy would spend time at the church on Sunday nights," and I was like, "Oh, yes, I know exactly where this guy needs to live." Anyway, and now here I am. I'm the voice of Lieutenant Tokyo Ghoul. It happened to me. It could happen to you the next time this thing gets rebooted.
I'll jump in next if you like. So I wasn't really aware of Tokyo Ghoul at the time, but Monica Rial, who was one of the lead characters and also she's also the lead adaptive writer, was living next door to me at the time, and she would keep telling me every time I'd go over there and see her, she'd be like, "Right in the show, Tatum, and I swear to God, it's like the Japanese are daring you to play this character." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was describing him, and she's like, "He's super flamboyant. He's super evil, but chaotic evil. He's got a he's got a fabulous dress sense, and he's a cannibal." And I'm like, "Well, that checks all the boxes." And then Mike, had me come and audition for him, and he was like, yeah, it was always you. And just nice. It's just nice. That doesn't happen every day. So yeah, and then funny, I got roped into helping Mike direct it because he reached out and asked me, as an old friend, he was like, hey, I'm working on this show, Tokyo Ghoul. You're probably aware of it because Monica's writing it. Blah, blah, blah. Would you like to come in and help out? And I thought, yeah, of course, I would love to play Tsukiyama, which was not what he was asking me. He was asking if I would come in and direct. And so, like, 4 weeks later, I get a schedule, and I'm like, the hell is this? I'm directing? He's like, yes. And you're playing Tsukiyama, but you're going to help me direct at night. I'm like, okay. So that's how I got involved. So I went on from knowing nothing about it except that it was a show my neighbor and friend was working on to now I'm in the thick of it, directing and playing the creepy guy with the handkerchief fetish. Some of my best
work. Who's got another one?
I'll go. So I also didn't get to audition, but I didn't really even know there were auditions going on until I was at the studio, and I was like, oh, there's auditions for Tokyo Ghoul. That's a bummer. I've heard some buzz about that. I would have liked to have read for it. But then it was within a few days, it was like, hey, Mike has some time for you on Tokyo Ghoul. Can you come in and record? And I was like, oh, cool. And so I didn't really know much about it other than that people were talking about it. And but if we all remember it, we didn't dub season 1 when season 1 came out. We were dubbing it when season 2 was coming out. And so we had this weird thing where we sort of worked on the 2 seasons simultaneously. And I was very fortunate in that I got called in just early enough that I got to do the first episode of season 1. And then by the time I got called in for the second one, they're like, okay, you have 2 lines in episode 1 of season 2. So now you got to be older and you've gone through all these things. And now you're going to go back and do all this other stuff where you're experiencing all those things I just told you about. And I was like, okay. It was so confusing for that first minute where I'm like, okay, I'm a little older. My hair's longer now. And I'm watching my friend fight people that I didn't I had no idea what was going on in the first episode of season 2 for sure. But that was a crazy ride. I remember one night actually working, Tatum was directing me, and I had this long paragraph cue, and I ran out of breath, but I said all the words, and I did that thing, and Tatum was like, "All right, come on, man! You're too young for that kind of stuff." And, whereas if we were recording it today, I wouldn't be too young for that kind of stuff. So
that's cool. Yeah, I'm like, come on, kid, you're the youth. You're supposed to carry us. Come on, you can't be this hard. You nailed it, whatever.
Lindsay, how did this begin for you?
So I also did not audition for the show, and I didn't know even that there were auditions going on, which is always for the best because there's never anything more upsetting than hearing that there were auditions for a show and you did not get invited to audition. But happens to the best of us. But yeah, Mike called me in to come record on the show, and like Aaron, I assumed it was for some, just little background bit parts since I didn't audition. But surprise, surprise, he told me that I would be playing a character named Eto and also sometimes called Sen. And he's like, get ready because you will be utilizing several of your voices. You're going to be a creepy little girl. You are going to be a very large, very scary, grotesque monster. You are going to be a crazed, insane, evil lady, and you are going to be normal also. So it was a wild ride, and it was so much fun. And I loved getting to come record each time and having no idea which version of my character I'd be playing, sometimes multiple versions. We always would have to save the monstery stuff for the end so that I wouldn't completely ruin my voice at the beginning of the session. But yeah, it was a big surprise coming into it, and to this day, one of my favorite characters I've ever gotten to play.
Well, it certainly, again, gave you that challenge, and to just go into that. And still, did you still in your mind just still have a tether between the personalities?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. For example, when I was playing her normal author version, there was still that sort of air of, she's really not normal. She's actually crazy deep down. She's pretending to be normal.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Austin, I see we have a new panelist. Would you like to introduce us?
This is why we never work with animals.
Oh my God.
If we pay attention to her, she'll just do it more. Ignore it.
I was trying so hard to not laugh at it, and then I saw Tatum laughing, and it started to make me laugh.
It's like listening to Lindsay talk about her the process so seriously and so beautifully.
It's because you were ignoring the cat so much. I think had you just picked up the cat, it would have been like, oh, okay, cute. But because you were just like,
I've known Austin for a long time, and initially, out of the side of my eye, I thought it was just a sock puppet.
I didn't want her to start making noise.
That would have tracked.
All right, let's let Austin recover. Brina, how did Tokyo Ghoul begin for you?
I'm actually trying to remember if I auditioned or not. I don't remember auditioning.
I don't think anyone in the show actually auditioned.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone that has a child should be required to remember anything.
I do remember that whenever the first few episodes that we recorded, I was actually living in LA at the time. And at that time, they didn't really do remote recording sessions very often. It was super rare. And so Mike had asked me to watch a few episodes of the show before we actually recorded, just so that it would make it easier. Because I want to say that I even had to direct myself on the first couple of episodes, because I couldn't come in for whatever reason. I don't remember why. Yeah, when I was watching it at home, I had told my husband that I had to watch some episodes of Tokyo Ghoul, of the show that I was going to be in, and I didn't tell him anything else. And he like kind of walked by while I was watching, and he just stared at it for a second and was like, "You the purple hair?" Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, it checks out." So that is to say, she's a very easy character for me to play, which is why I love her so much. But yeah, that's how it started for me. That's all I got.
Recording remotely. Well, thank goodness we don't do that anymore.
I know.
Rita was ahead of her time even then.
I was. It's true. I set the bar, everyone.
Now that I'm in my closet, I never want to come out of it, frankly.
So Austin, as a central character, how did this start for you?
I'm glad you guys went first because I can't really remember auditioning either.
Totally fine.
And if you had made me go first, it's entirely possible that I would have invented some memory.
You wouldn't be the first, Ross.
No one will know.
You can still do that, Austin. There's no rule.
Except now we can't trust anything you're gonna say.
I walked in and I said, I want this role.
Because I think he pulled somewhat from like Attack on Titan auditions, which I remember those auditions. You're given like 5 lines when you audition for a character. And for that one, I'm pretty sure the last line was just like the letter A repeated the whole time with some exclamation marks. It was just like scream. So I think that was involved. I think I might have not had to audition, but I think the first session was an audition. So they'll record you and then send it to the people back in Japan to see if they accept you. So I think we did that. And I remember too that the first thing I recorded was season 2, and it's the middle of this fight with Todd Haberkorn's character. And I was very confused about what was going on. And that was back when I still read YouTube comments, which
Oh no.
Like,
Oh,
you know, the fans were pissed because season 2 was coming out before season 1, and season 2, like a lot of them, I don't think realized that like how emo season 2 is. So they were like, "Oh, he's so deep voiced and dark," and I'm like, "Oh, wait."
Yeah, you didn't get to show the progression.
Yeah. That's my earliest memory.
There you
Of
go.
life.
Well, hey, I would much rather get a phone call saying, "Can you come in to record?" as opposed to, "Can you come on in and read for a part?" So again, for those of you that just sort of just got that in, absolutely, that's kudos to you, and that's kudos to the careers that you've carved for yourselves. So it's good work when you can get it.
I'm glad they didn't say no. That would have been really awkward.
Oh, that's happened to me.
really?
Lindsay froze.
And Lindsay froze in that moment.
I was like,
Wait, what happened?
Your video froze. You said that happened to me, and then you
it just made you look crazy.
Oh, no.
That happened to me.
I don't even remember what show it was, but this was many years ago, and I was brought in to do one of those like Austin was saying, you like record on a chunk of the first episode, and they send it off to Japan to see if they approve of you, and they did not approve of me.
I've had the thing where I waited and was really excited for the episode that was about to come on Toonami that had me in it.
No.
Oh no.
Then once it aired, I was like, that doesn't sound like me. That was a really good job. Wow.
Check out my
More range than I thought.
It wasn't me. They replaced me.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. I'll tell you what, I think we're good to go on audience questions. So what do you say we roll our first one? And this is going to come from Ryan. If you could hang out with a character you portrayed, who would it be, and what would you do? And you may draw from any of your anime catalog.
It wouldn't be Tsukiyama because, or he wouldn't eat me, and I'd feel really judged. It's like it's a no-win situation. So it would not be Tsukiyama. I'm like, why don't you want to eat me? But don't eat me, please. So I don't know. I'd hang out with someone that was like low-key cool. Like I'm not known for playing characters that are relationship material. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to necessarily hang out with anybody, but like Brina and I did a wonderful show years ago called Spice and Wolf, and I love those characters. I would love to live in their world and hang out with either Lawrence or Holo from that beautiful little universe.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice. Very nice.
It's weird because when you voice like a lot of 17-year-old kids, I want to go to high school and hang out at the bleachers.
I wasn't even thinking about it that way, but that's a good point. When you put it that way, it's like
I'd take him out to lunch and talk to him about college.
It'll be a Big Brothers Big Sisters program for sure.
But, okay.
I'm not sure for who, but
Cop out, but I'm gonna say Pop Team Epic.
Okay.
I would not with
Just
them.
go with the flow. That's what we do. We just go with the flow.
Right on.
God.
Cool. I'm gonna step in right now to put a warm salt bath on all of this and just say that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I would love to spend the day with Conway Woods from My Hero Academia and tree sling through the city. That's what I would like to do. Forget about everything Austin said.
I don't think I'll ever be able to forget about what Austin said. It's because I'm sort of in the same boat as though like a lot of my characters are like teenage kids, and then I'm like, well, Hide, and then I'm like, oh well, then the end of Route A, and like, man, I would want to hang out with Hide. Hide's a good kid, and I feel like we could go to Big Girl and get burgers or something. Like that's what he's into. But like it would then have to be like, so what are you thinking about studying in college? Like, you know, like it would have to totally be that sort of thing. But Oh my god.
Yeah, I definitely would not be choosing my character from Tokyo Ghoul. Yeah, a pretty terrifying person to spend any time with. I'd probably go with Nagisa from Assassination Classroom. Also, because by the end of the show, we see him like as an adult, so it's not weird. Right?
Oh, there you go.
Guys, it's not weird. It's not weird.
It's not weird.
I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to steal Tatum's. I think Holo and Lawrence would be super fun to hang out with, and just fascinating. Like I just think it would be fun to listen to her talk, which is really weird to say because it's me.
Right. You just listen to that actor all day.
Yeah.
All the time.
Indeed. Awesome. Ryan, thank you. Great question to start us off with. And what do we have next? This comes from Mariah. What was your favorite part of the recording process?
For Tokyo Ghoul specifically?
I think maybe how about Tokyo Ghoul? Because given the horrific nature, maybe you were called upon for efforts that normally you wouldn't have in other series.
I actually know mine. My favorite was, and this is 100% a spoiler for the most recent season, so close your ears if you haven't seen it. But I was close them. I was actually pregnant at the same time that she was pregnant, and it made me really happy.
Oh,
and I think it was Aaron Dismuke wrote the script that where she reveals it. And he even said, like, because the writer will sometimes put notes for the director on the side, and so he wrote like art imitating life.
When did you plan that?
I was like, excuse me, Japanese creators, I'm gonna be pregnant at this time. Would you know when I was gonna be pregnant? Would you make her pregnant? That'd be great.
I think my favorite part has to be recording the first and the second big handkerchief scene, because he goes absolutely nuts and it's a really uncomfortable moment. And as an actor, I love doing stuff like that. I get such a kick out of doing the weird out there stuff. But I was recording myself as a director, and Mike was like, you know this character. Why don't you go and just record yourself? And that night, we were doing the hanky scene. We had a brand new engineer. And he'd never seen actors do this. He was coming from a completely different background.
Oh boy.
And, all that, but he was really cool. And
Treat.
he was nailing it. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do this scene. Let's watch the scene. And he was like, oh, what is this? And I was like, okay, I'll go in that booth and I'm going to do some weird things. Just please don't watch me do it. Just focus on the animation and the Pro Tools thing. Just don't watch me because I'm very physical. He's like, oh, okay. So I went in the booth and I did a couple of takes. And he was great. He chased it, which means you have to kind of gain him down and up because I'm all over the map, and that's really hard kind of for an engineer to do. And so he totally nailed it. But when we were done, I'm sweating bullets because of what I've just done. And I look out the glass and there's Dominic looking at me like,
oh, it's Dominique.
It's Dom. He was like, watch me. And it was funny. So then a few weeks later, I was like, hey, welcome to dubbing anime, my friend. He was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. And then a few weeks later, another hanky scene came up and he was like, oh, hell no, we got to do this again. I was like, yep, and it's even bigger. One of my favorite experiences as an actor is when you can freak out the engineer.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Fantastic. Who's got another?
Well, I loved getting to, I kind of mentioned this before, but definitely the most fun thing about my character was the fact that I got to utilize so many different voices and kind of bounce all over the place with her. But I don't know, I think maybe specifically I had the most fun when I got to do the monster creature-y noises, because that is not something I get to do very often. This may surprise you, but I'm not usually who directors think of first when they need to cast someone to play a giant ferocious monster. So I don't get to do that very much. And it was definitely a lot of fun to exercise those vocal cords, those muscles that I don't really get to do. That like
nice.
I feel like for me, there's so many things that I remember from Tokyo Ghoul, but they're all like for the fact that Hide is never around for any of like the really intense, crazy things. So like I remember like a bunch of us being at a convention in Florida, and I was on it was the first time I'd been on a Tokyo Ghoul panel. I was there with like Austin and Josh, and I think you were there, Tatum. And Mike was there, and we get asked this question about the I can't even remember what they're called at this moment. I'm completely spacing, but the powers, like the things that they can all do.
Kaguna?
Yes. And we were asked like, who's one of those things would you want? And like everybody went down the line, and I hadn't seen a single one of them because Hide was never in any scenes with them. And I was like, what are we talking about? And they're trying to explain it to me on the panel floor, like, oh, and Austin gets like Doc Ock arms, and like I'm like, what? Like, all of this is in this show? Like, I didn't know about any of this.
I was asked the same question in Sulphur, Louisiana, at a convention, and I said my response was that I would want my Kaganai to be Austin Tindall, breaking out of my body with multiple Austin Tindalls.
The actual Austin Tindall.
That's a good power to have. Yeah. With the cat interrupted.
You can never have too many Austin Tindalls. That's for sure.
I'm with the cat. I just throw it at you.
Well, how about you, Aaron?
Oh, yeah. I guess. Well, this is not a cool story. But in terms of which is the great start of every adventure, I just the fact that I got to Uja's voice lives right here. It's in my middle range, and it has depth, but it's also very sensitive, and it lives in a place where my emotional anyway, it just lives in a place where it's different from other voices that I access and other characters that I access. And for that to be, the special thing was that it got to be something that was very, his voice is very intimate. It was a very intimate recording every time. And that was great for me. The other thing was that there was one night, I think we were doing, I don't know, I think it was like, it was RE or something. And I had to go and do we're not recording, and I don't remember who the director was. But I remember the director saying, and this was such a because this is the director saying, do you need to hear a reference? Like, no, I think I'm okay. And then the director said, yeah, Mike McFarlane said you've been playing this character for 5 years, so he's probably got it. But and the fact that Mike McFarlane was totally fine with, I don't know. That was, anyway, I'm just glad that Mike McFarlane trusted me. Anywhoozle, Pete.
Yeah. So coming from Mike, that's high praise, because Mike is not. Mike, we love him to death, but he is not an effusive director. Mike is never like, yes, that's amazing, you nailed it. Like, you know, you're doing a great job because you look out and Mike goes, yeah, that works.
That's right. Job well done. Waiting a minute, please.
I was waiting for that highlight to go away.
Yeah, right. When the highlight goes away, you know you did it.
He's one of those directors, right? I know those guys. So, Austin, bring us home.
It's hard to pick one moment, you know, because there was so much. But I would say that just the fact that I got to work on that for basically a 4-year span, you know, there was like a 2-year break. The character goes through this very large character arc in these 3 different kind of storylines. And I know that, like, me personally, my life and the world like changed a lot in that time period. And well, there's a few characters that maybe I've gotten to play throughout the years, but never one that was like this intimate and intense for such a long period of time. So I definitely had got to witness myself grow as I was playing that character. And, you know, it's fundamentally changed my life. I mean, it's to this day the most significant character I've played, and I was there for such a long time that it's hard to not feel a lot of affection. And, you know, it's a very cathartic character to get to play. There's a lot of, you know, crying and screaming about your personal issues, and that's great. Every other session would be like going into one of those rooms where they give you goggles and a sledgehammer and you can just break stuff. Like that. But now I am like half an octave lower.
Mariah, thank you. Great question. I think we have time for one more question, so let's see if we can go out on a fun one. From Jenna, what is the one piece of advice you would give to your character?
Let it go. Just let it go. Find something else to eat.
Find something else to eat.
He is obsessed to like the point where it's creepy. Like it's already creepy that he's like a ghoul that wants to eat things, but like it's creepy. It's like, dude, you have a whole range of options and you're just so focused on this one character. Like, let it go. It's not going to work out for you.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, Echo's pretty good at pretending to just be a normal person. So I think maybe I just advise her to stick to that. Just really just stick to that and live your life as an author.
My advice for Uta is is akin to Tatum's advice, which is let it go. But I don't know, by the time you get to RE and you see Uta's final form, my advice is just, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly bear. And tear everything apart. Because that guy is a monster, and he should. He's holding back way too much. He's sensitive. Anyway, I would like to see him be more aggressive in the marketplace.
Aggressive.
Holding on to his stocks.
It used to be my job is to try to avoid talking about politics at all times. Now for this year, it's going to be
partisan.
No, it's not.
Free market capitalism.
That's right. That's right.
It's about the little guy sticking it to the man.
Yes.
It's about short-selling hedge funds that have been destroying America's democracy.
Yes. It's a free market or it's not.
Perfect metaphor for what's been going on in the capitalist market for the past 100 years.
If there's anything that I would give advice to Kaneki, it would be invest in GME. We're taking it to the moon, kids!
Oh my God.
I'll answer seriously. I would say, if I could say anything to Kaneki, I mean, by the end of it, spoiler alert, he becomes a fully realized person, and he is now responsible for a child. I would tell him to end the cycle of abuse and not do what his parents did to him. You'll just doing something else now.
Years from now, people are going to watch this panel on YouTube and be like, what are they talking about with the stock market? Like, why do they keep talking about the stock market?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to age well.
I'm like Austin. I never read the comments.
This is so dated. I feel like Hide goes through so much. Like, if I could just even summarize it, like he loses his friend, and then he tries to save his friend, and then he dies, and then he's not dead, and then he's a scarecrow, and then he's not, but he's missing part of his face. Like, I feel like if I could have a conversation with Hide, I'd be like, what advice do you have for me? Because you have been through a lot, and I feel like he has a lot of ability to just persevere. And you know what? I feel like there's a lot that I could learn from that. And I feel like I'm a pretty good person at persevering, but like, man, I don't know about that level. He's gone through a lot. So I feel like I'd rather get the advice in that case.
Yeah, you're absolutely not wrong. Great. Brina, bring us home.
I think I would just tell I would just be like, Touka, it's okay to be vulnerable. There is strength in vulnerability. It's okay. It's okay.
Jenna, thank you. Wonderful question. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of Tokyo Ghoul panelists. Any final words for our audience before we go?
Bon
There is
appetit.
strength in vulnerability.
Mostly bon appetit.
Let's
Yeah,
go home.
be careful. Be careful out there. Be safe. Wear a mask. And hopefully we'll get through this and we'll see you on the other side in real life.
Yeah.
Uta is telling everyone to wear a mask. That's
Oh my
Where
god, I
do
You
never
don't know what
said
it
that.
means. You don't know what it
Yes.
means. When I'm out at Kroger,
Perfect.
when I'm out at the Tom Thumbs, when I'm out at Central Market, the Whole Foods, and I see the kids with the Kaneki masks on, and I just be like, hey, like as they're looking for a cereal or granola bars, like, I'm the guy who voices that. Can you feel the hot breath? Yeah, it's a lot. I hold back for you, for your safety, for your mental sanity. I don't say that to you. Good night, guys.
Wonderful guests as always. It's my absolute pleasure to serve you all today. Once again, thank you for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Clifford, happy birthday to you and many happy returns, as they say in the UK. To our audience, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for those great questions. Hope to see you all again soon. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Take care, and please keep washing those hands.